Today, we're digging into a really powerful idea, something that can totally transform a school's culture. This concept of ownership that goes way beyond any job description.
You know the phrase, "That's not my job." We've all heard it. Let's be honest, maybe we've even said it. It seems so simple, right? Almost harmless. But in the world of education, wow, those four little words can carry some serious weight.
So, that's the big question we're tackling today. Why is this seemingly innocent sentence actually one of the most dangerous things you can hear in a school? Let's get into it.
To really understand the impact here, you have to see it in action. It's not in the big, dramatic moments. It's in the small, everyday choices where the real danger shows up.
So picture this. There's a student in the hallway, clearly upset, maybe fighting back tears. One staff member walks by, thinks, "That's not one of my kids," and just keeps going. But then another one stops, gets down on their level, and just asks, "Hey, are you okay?" That one choice, that single moment of connection, that can change the entire course of that child's day, maybe even their week.
So, where does this whole not my job attitude even come from? Well, a lot of the time, it comes from a pretty basic misunderstanding of what a school actually is.
And this right here, this comparison gets to the absolute heart of the problem. On one hand, you've got this outdated factory mindset, where students are just seen as products on an assembly line. Each person has one specific task. But the reality? Schools are living, breathing ecosystems. A student's needs, they don't care about our neat little organizational charts.
And that factory mindset, it leads directly to the blame game. It becomes so easy to pass the buck. If attendance is down, well, that's a parent problem. A kid is acting out, that's for the principal to handle. Falling behind in reading, that's a teacher's issue. See how it works? Each excuse might sound kind of logical on its own, but put them all together, and you get a system full of holes.
And here's the bottom line. When everyone is only responsible for their tiny piece of the puzzle, then nobody is responsible for the whole child. And that space in between, that's exactly where students get lost.
This just says it all, doesn't it? Kids don't walk through the school doors with neat little labels stuck to their foreheads that say behavior problem or academic issue. Nope. They arrive as whole human beings, with complex needs that cross every single line we try to draw.
Okay, so if dividing responsibility is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's not a new program or initiative. It's a really powerful shift in how we think.
The solution is ownership. It's this core belief that every single student's success is a shared responsibility. It's this idea that we are all on the same team, and a win for any student is a win for everybody.
And listen, this isn't some abstract theory. This is what it actually looks like. It's the teacher taking 5 minutes to call home about a student who's been absent, even though it's not required. It's the administrator stepping into a classroom for 10 minutes so a teacher can catch their breath. It's any staff member making a positive call to a family just because. These are the small actions that build a culture of ownership.
Now, this is a really important point. Ownership is not about burning yourself out trying to do everyone else's job. It's so much simpler than that. It's about seeing a need, like that kid in the hallway, and refusing to pretend you didn't see it.
So, how do you go from these individual acts to a full-blown school-wide culture? It actually starts with something pretty basic, the language we use every single day.
The words we choose make all the difference. I mean, just look at the contrast. On one side, you have language that divides and blames. On the other, you have language that unites and solves problems. Just that tiny shift from asking, "Whose job is this?" to "How can I help?" is a total game changer.
It might sound almost too simple, but our words really do shape our reality. When the conversations in a school's hallways are filled with we and us, instead of me and them, you know something fundamental is changing for the better. The culture itself is shifting.
And of course, leadership is absolutely critical here. Leaders have to walk the walk. When a principal picks up a piece of trash in the hallway, or steps in to help a teacher, or just openly takes responsibility for a mistake, they're sending a powerful message. In this building, we are all responsible. And just as important, they have to notice and celebrate these acts of ownership in others. That's how you make it spread.
So, when you boil it all down, this whole idea brings us back to the real heart of education. The stuff that you can never, ever fully capture in a formal contract or a job description.
Think about it. The most profound, life-changing moments in a school, they rarely happen during a scheduled lesson. They happen here, in the margins. The quiet chat in the hallway,
That one phone call that keeps a family from pulling their kid out of the school. The extra 5 minutes someone spends with a student who's just not getting it. That's where futures are shaped. Look, job descriptions are necessary. Of course they are. They create structure. They build the scaffolding of a school. They're the blueprint.
But it's ownership that fills that building with life, with warmth, with hope, that shared promise to every single child's future. That's what turns a building made of bricks and mortar into a place where kids can thrive.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. In your own school, in the hallways, and in the staff room, which phrase do you hear more often? "That's not my job," or "How can I help?" The answer to that question, well, it reveals everything about the culture you're building, one sentence at a time.